Good morning. And it looks like we may be getting some weather. Just look at all that cloud up there. But I've got my morning tea, so that makes everything okay. So in the last video, we talked about the Ordovician. Talked very briefly about it. Didn't go into great detail. The truth is, I haven't really studied it that much. Since then, I've done a little more reading. One of the things that defines the Ordovician is the arrival of land plants and land fungi and land animals in the form of arthropods, scorpions, and the ancestors of insects, bugs and creepy crawlies, things with 8 to 10 legs, skittering up onto the land very temporarily. But for plants, you had the first vascular plants that were able to, dare I say it, stand on their own. I want to say 2 feet, but they didn't really get to be 2 feet. They got to be maybe 1.5 feet tall at the tallest, and those were the biggest land plants. But they were vascular plants. And then there were the fungi, towering fungi, up to 25 feet tall, dominated the landscape, but only close to rivers and lakes and ponds and other sources of ready available water. The land was, for the most part, a desert, surrounded by a gigantic ocean with a green fringe at its edge. Plants, fungi, and a few arthropods skittering up onto the beaches. Life was in the oceans, and life was pretty impressive. I may have mentioned the first fish with jawbones. They came at the end of the Ordovician. Before that, fish were not quite so well equipped, but they were getting there. Now, of course, during the Ordovician period, fish also split into the various families that would eventually come to dominate. You had the ray-finned fishes, you had the lobe-finned fishes, you had the cartilaginous fishes, which is the sharks, and then you had the plecoderms, the armored fishes, the fishes that had most of their skeleton on the outside, and a lot of them were vicious predators. And they all sort of diversified again in the late Ordovician. And the end of the Ordovician was marked by, a mass extinction event. And we're not entirely sure what it was. It may have been some kind of dramatic shift of climate. The shift of climate. In any case, the Ordovician came to an end, but life continued beyond that end, and on into the Silurian period, which we're going to talk about next. Okay. Yeah. So when are we going to talk about the Silurian?